Hi everyone, it's Ariel from Sphinx Automation, and today I'm going to show you how you can set an automation on your iPhone that prompts you every 15 minutes with an alarm to remind you to enter what you were doing within that past 15-minute time period. You can either write it down, or I've actually made this automation so that your phone will prompt you to enter it into the screen on the phone. And at the end of the day, it will create a note compiling all the 15-minute blocks of activities that you did throughout the day into one note for that daily activity. So let's begin by heading over to the Shortcuts app on your phone. If you are just entering the app for the first time, it will bring you to a screen that looks like this. It'll show all your shortcuts if you have any, and if you don't, if you've never created any, it will show you some sample suggestion shortcuts for you to use. Let's head over to the Automations tab, which is in the middle, and you can see I have a couple of different versions of this automation already set up. We'll start with this one in the middle here at 1:29 p.m. daily. I set this one to a shorter time period and only two iterations so that we could see it in action first before I walk through how to set it up. With any automation, you can manually click on the play button on the bottom right once you open the editor, and it will run through it for you. Otherwise, I'll show you how you can set up the automation to trigger either on a certain day and time, or we'll show you how to do it on a daily basis at a certain time. So just to show you how, I'll click play. This one is going to run through 2 times. What's happening is it's starting the timer, in this case, rather than 15 minutes for 15 seconds. And then it's also giving us a wait script to wait to run the next step for the same amount of time as the timer is going to be running in the background. All right, so 15 seconds has passed. The screen's a little delayed, so you can hear it in the background, but you can't, it took a second to pop up. And it's prompting me now. In my shortcuts pop-up window, this will show no matter what I'm doing on the phone or not doing on the phone in the background. And it has pre-populated the date and time. And I'm just going to say, let's just say A, B, C for now. Click done. And it will loop back through. Because I set it to repeat 2 times, this is my second loop. It's going to start a new timer for 15 seconds. As soon as that timer is over, it simultaneously should be finished with the waiting script, and it'll pop up again. There it goes. And now we have our second request for what I was doing, and I'll just say D, E, F, and then done. Okay, because I only asked for 2 loops, now the last step in this automation will run. It's going to create a note with my activities, and it's going to make that note in my iPhone folder. At the bottom, you can see it has given me a sample or a preview of what that output will look like. So on June 29th, 2021 at 1:38, I had ABC, and at 1:39, I had DEF. Again, we'll make this so that it's going to go in 15-minute intervals or so rather than 15 seconds. So those numbers will be spaced out in bigger blocks. All right, let's just jump over to the Notes app really quickly. If I go into my notes on my phone, I see that that note was created. And it actually titled it with the first line. So what we really could do if we wanted to was we could add in one more line that when the note gets created, it'll put the date only and then make a second line and so on and so forth with the remaining inputs for the note. For now, this is probably okay, but when we go back through and we set up the real script, then I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so next we have a decision to make. If you want this automation to run on a daily basis, regardless of whether it's a weekday or not a weekday, you can simply start off the automation with at 8 a.m. daily. And I'll actually start a new automation to show you. We'll click the plus sign. I'll go back. From the Shortcuts tab, click Automation in the middle, and then click the plus sign on the top right, and then click Create Personal Automation. And you can choose time of day, and that will be daily. And I wonder, oh, actually, I'm totally incorrect. Ignore what I said about the weekday. If we set it to weekly, then we can set the days of the week. So that actually simplifies what I was going to show you. And I'll set it to Monday through Friday. Okay, perfect. So we'll say we'll start it at 8 a.m. and next. And then we'll go ahead and start adding our actions. So the first thing we want to do is add that repeat. The way that we do that, and I keep going too fast, so I apologize. I'll click add action and then scripting and then repeat. And we want it to repeat in this case, if we want it to repeat, I should say, every 15 minutes from 8 a.m. till 4 p.m. or 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So over the course of 8 hours, we want it to repeat 32 times, 4 times an hour times 8 hours, so 32. So click that plus sign. Once you hold it down, it will start going a little faster after the first couple until it gets up to 32. Perfect. Next, we want to add in our steps that we want to run for our repeating automation. The first step we want to do is to run the clock. So I'll click add action again, and I will click on X to exit the script because I want to go over to apps. And I'll click on clock, start timer, and I'll set this timer to run for 15 minutes. I can then click on this and hold my finger over it and drag it between those two little bars, repeat and end repeat. That's something that's not obvious at all when you're first starting out with automations. So just make sure to move it into there. Otherwise, the repeat will run and nothing will happen. Okay, next we want to add a wait timer. So again, add action, close the apps. We'll first close the clock and then close the app. So now we can go back to the main menu. We can go to scripting and we can go down to wait. And we're going to set it to wait for 900 seconds. Now, the reason we're doing this, and it's going to take a little while, so I'll try to make it go as fast as possible, but I'll explain while it's going. The reason that we want to add this wait timer is because otherwise the timer is going to start and then our next step will run, which will be to prompt us to enter what we were doing over the last 15 minutes. And then it's going to restart all over again. And if it hasn't been 15 minutes from the time that we were prompted till the time that we finished entering our input for what we were doing, it's actually going to just overwrite our existing timer that's currently running and start it over again for 15 minutes, even if 15 minutes has not already passed. Apparently right now, there's no ability to do waiting for a number of minutes versus seconds, so we're just going to have to keep holding it until it gets up to 900. Almost there. I let go too soon, so let's give it another sec. And then there we go. 900. Okay, perfect. Now click it, hold it, and drag it into the middle between the two bars again, just like we did before. Okay, we're getting closer. So next step is to prompt us to ask for that input of what we were doing. Click the plus sign again, scroll down almost to the bottom now, and find notifications, ask for input. Go ahead and tap on that. It'll default to ask for text, but if you wanted to change that to another type of input, you could change it to number, URL, date, etc. But for our purposes, we just want text. And then we want the prompt to be, I'm going to set it to this current date, and then click on the keyboard icon on the left menu, colon, and then what was I doing? Okay, and then click done. This is important here too. Then we want to click show more. And we want to set the default answer, and again, scroll over on the menu to current date, and then go back on the keyboard, and then I would type colon and then add a space. I think it added the space, but it's hard to tell. Yeah, it did, but you just can't see it. Okay, I'll go back and add it again. Don't want to have too many spaces. The reason this is important is because this will allow you to more quickly enter what you were doing and get right back to it. Rather than having to type in the date and time every single time, this will pre-populate the date and time, and then you can just simply type in the description of what you were doing. And then when we get to the end and it creates that note, you'll see the log with the date time stamp first, and then the description of what you were working on afterwards. Same thing, we're gonna click in it, hold on it, and drag it into the middle. And then last but not least, at the end of the day, after we've looped through this automation 32 times every 15 minutes for 8 hours, we want to do one more step, and that is to create a note. I'll click on the plus sign, click the X to get back to the main menu. Now I want to say apps, notes, create note, and then I'm going to set the folder to on my iPhone, and I'm going to rename. When I click on repeat results, that's going to be the default. I can rename this. So I'm just going to call this daily activities. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't make a difference, but it's just so you know what it is. As you get more advanced into the automations, then you might have more repeats within the same automation. So it's helpful to distinguish what's being repeated. And then we're going to leave it just like that. Because the date and time stamp was already appended to the comment that we're adding at each time it runs, then that's perfectly fine. And then, oh yes, and then I don't want to forget here, I'm actually going to go ahead and erase this. I'm going to go back to the keyboard and erase the daily activities, because first we're going to put a line that we get our title line. And then we'll go ahead and add in, after the current date, we'll add in the daily activities so that we have a title line first and the first activity doesn't become our title. All right. Once you're done, click on next and then done. Don't forget to do that so it saves. And there we have it, our 8 a.m. weekday timer automation with the prompt to ask for what we were doing during the last 15-minute period and store that as a note. That way we can go to our notes and we can see every single day, hey, for June 29th, here is my timestamp log, all the activities that I completed once every 15 minutes. Now I know exactly what I'm wasting all of my time on and can automate maybe some of those things. If you need help with that part, you can definitely let us know. This is our nerdy thing that we love to do, and we're pretty good at it, I think. So let us know if you have questions once you know what you're wasting your time on. If you want to know if it can be automated, happy to help figure that out with you and show you how to do it or do it for you. Thanks so much for watching. Good luck with this and happy automating.